local full system backup strategy in place, whether it's a taste-based system running backup exec or some really expensive service like Zenith or Dato, something of that nature, where it's based on locally held hardware and then backups running to that. And then we also, and what we're doing is, rather than now recommending that you go to someone else to do that local backup, we're adding that to our own suite of services. So now we're providing the full end-to-end. So your cloud-based backup, your workstation and laptop. So laptop fleets, mobile workers, people are cutting their costs by shutting down their main offices. So now you have a lot of people working from home. How do you manage the data that's being developed and created for your business if it's not on site? It's a big problem for CIOs and CTOs everywhere, especially with the stealth cloud coming out. How do you manage data that's all around these Box.net and Dropbox services, which have been proven pretty outright not to be secure. So we have workstation-based backup, very simple and secure. That's our flagship product, the file and folder backup system. We have the mobile applications that we're going to be releasing out over time as well. So being able to back up information from your mobile, your iPhone, your Droid. It also allows you to share and recover information as well from the rest of your backup set, so you have a productive use of your backup system without violating any type of security protocols that you would need. File and folder backup still doesn't change, server-based backup, and now the application backup and full system backup and restore. With our ServerSave program, what are you getting? So again, you're going to be able to have, with each ServerSave license, you have the ability for granular exchange, backup, and recovery. So you can recover by a full exchange server. If you want to migrate hardware, you could recover a simple mailbox or individual messages, and we'll show you how that works out in a minute. Bare metal image creator, again, it's just an agent that's going to allow you to create an image of volumes of a system to a staging machine, in which case you would use image stream to take it off-site. So image stream is, the whole goal of image stream is to solve the problem that cloud-based services have had, which is if we have these large system image files, how can we possibly get them off-site and make them useful? Well, image stream is specifically designed with the idea of getting a ½ terabyte file off-site. So that's what we're looking for there. Pulse centralized management. This is an agent-based management system where you install alongside each workstation or server that you're running backups from, and it's going to send back reports on the activity of those backups. Reporting is also available per account as well as with email reporting, but this is just another tool that will allow for further centralized management for those of you who don't already have something like Spiceworks or IT Control Suite in place. Online backup and recovery, this again is the file and folder backup system, and we keep it as a separate agent because the branding on the file and folder backup is a little more specific, and we take a little more time in doing it because this is something that your end users would see. So branding at this level is a little more relevant than something at a server level where you'd be managing it. The Premier Web Integration Package, the idea here was our partners were taking maybe a month to decide which service to get into when they were looking at cloud-based backup strategies, and then taking another 2 to 3 months and maybe another $5,000 to $15,000 to set up their business to accept billing, get billing cycles in place, get some type of web presence, all these different aspects, support systems in place, some type of mailer. The Premier Web Integration Package includes all of this and really is geared to streamline your entry into the market from a couple of months and a lot of money to just entering the program, and as soon as you're delivered, you're ready to start configuring this and going. And then, of course, the mobile applications that we discussed. So before we get into a demo, we're looking right now at just a list of all the features that we have, and we've actually separated the SOS ServerSave program from the SOS Online Backup File and Folder System to show the difference that this really makes when we talk about who we're competing with. So before, if we look at the top half of this grid, we're competing primarily with Carbonite and Mozy. They're the two big consumer, small office, home office juggernauts of online backup. Now, we've never really been on par with them when it comes to our attention to security, which is untouched, and our dedication to security through not limiting the usage of the service through bandwidth limitations or otherwise. So we've always been boasted and compared directly against these guys, and now with the addition of ServerSave, you can see in the bottom half that we're just not playing in the same park anymore. We're not playing the same game. It's apples to oranges at this point. So we've changed who we're really competing against, and now we're looking at adding these competitors to the discussion. So Zenith Infotech, Intronis, i365. And while we put this program together, we put this with the idea that, hey, we're going to be entering a whole new competitive landscape. Let's make sure that our partners are going to be able to get in here and make some money when they do it. So when we put this program together, the idea was we want to offer an end-to-end solution that they won't be able to get from any other single vendor, and we're going to be able to get it at a price point that completely undercuts what's out there today. As most of you, do we have any Zenith partners in here today? One, maybe two. So anyone in Intronis or i365 partner? Well, you can, for those of you who are familiar with the programs, a lot of these require really expensive hardware, proprietary hardware, to be purchased before you can even talk about the cost of the backup service. So it's really something that is just really undercutting what's going on. Greg asked, which ones are real and available right now? So if we go back to our program, all of these are real. What we're going to be, if you were to come on today and your project is delivered in the next 30 days, you would not be getting a generic mobile application until we're probably about 60 days out from that. And then the cloud-based backup, it's undetermined at this point, but we're planning for a generic release of some sort of cloud-based backup program sometime at the end of the second quarter this year. But we're going to have a lot of different services and features released over the next 3, 6, and 9 months, and we're just getting started. So right now, if you look at this list, the only thing you're not getting are the generic branded mobile applications. But you do have a mobile portal that your customers can go through for easy access to recover and share information. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the...
Paul had a question about encryption that I want to make sure that we answered. We do encrypt all data locally in transit and at the data center. I hope that that answers your question.
Yeah, I'll go through that in just a minute. All right, so I've just logged into a VM we have set up running Server 2008 R2, and I have here launched our ServerSave application. And here we just got an alert that an incremental backup had just been run, and now the upload agent is about to run. So let me go ahead and cancel this out. Okay, so when we open up the ServerSave application, we see we have the branding here, Acme, and then Acme Online Backup, and then it's all branded as ServerSave, and then Image Stream, EGR, the Management Agent, and Image Creator. So we have 5 agents here. We can go through an agent or an application-based view or through setup backup, so a use case scenario. You know, am I on a laptop or a PC right now? Am I at a file server? And it'll ask you, okay, well, what kind of backup do you want to do? For this purpose, I'm just going to go through at an application-by-application basis. So the first online backup and recovery, this is an agent that you would only really use at a workstation or a laptop. This is our flagship product. What we're doing now with ServerSave is Image Creator, which is the big part. So if we open up Image Creator, I'm going to go to Backup Jobs and just delete this backup job so I can show you the scheduling. Then we have this wizard to create a backup job, restore, or explore a specific backup. There's a Windows Volume Manager, backup job list, destination list, and a backup history list. So we see all these tasks that you can really point anything. So those of you who are using IT Control Suite or Spiceworks, any monitoring service would be able to pick up this information, and you can, so you wouldn't have to get a whole new management agent. Those things just look at this. So it's really, really nice and detailed here. So if we go to the wizard and hit backup, it's going to ask us first, all right, well, what do you want to back up? Gives you a list of all the volumes you have. So you can select multiple volumes at a time. For this demo, I'm just going to select this Exchange volume, so a 5 gigabyte volume just for sake of speed. We hit next, and then it's going to ask you, okay, well, where do you want to point this backup? Now, typically, you point this to a staging machine. And to show you how all of these agents are installed, we'll pull up this diagram that's in our knowledge base that shows how exactly do all these agents work. So you use Image Creator at the specific servers where you have the volumes that you'd want to have a full image of. And you point those images to a staging machine somewhere on your local network. This staging machine it can be a Windows 7 machine, loaded up with 8, 16 gigs of RAM, whatever it is. You just want to make sure this is a big beefy machine just geared towards backup. And you would install ImageStream at this machine, and you take all the backups you've been creating off-site. And that's that's the ServerSave flow. For the online file and folder program, you just install it directly on whatever workstation or laptop you'd like to back up data from, and then it just backs up directly from there. Really low overhead, especially after the initial backup. And then you have mobile applications, which are to be released to the public. If you want, though, the SOS applications are out there in the market, and you could be able to use those, or at least it's out in the market for the iPhone. So back to our demo. So you can select, right now it has this virtual drive F, which I'm using, but I could define a network location here, which would be more common for putting it to your staging machine. For this purpose, I'm just going to put it to the F drive. Hit next. Then it's going to ask me for a schedule. This should be familiar to most of you who've been running image-based backup strategies. Now, one thing that is good to note when you're putting these strategies together is that a weekly full system image backup strategy is very typical, but it really became standard around limited media devices that you're writing to. So limited devices in the sense that a tape can only hold so much data. So what they would, and also the restoring process meant if you wanted to get back to Thursday, you'd have to restore the full from Sunday and then all the incrementals between Sunday and Thursday in order to get there. The system now has changed where it's more intelligent and allows you to just select what incremental you want to recover to, and it'll intelligently make the chain and do all that work for you. So now you can run incrementals more regularly throughout the day. So what we have set up now is minutes between backups, 60 minutes. That's giving us an RPO of 60 minutes. So that means that we're going to have 11 backups per day because we're running it between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. And you can change that however you like. And we'll just hit next. It's going to ask you, okay, when you're running the backups, what kind of compression do you want on this? Well, you can do standard. It also asks you if you want to encrypt this data. So we could do that, but as we were discussing before, the image stream agent and the file and folder agent both are going to encrypt the data at 256-bit AES before transfer. Then we're going to transfer the data over secure 128-bit SSL. And then we're going to store the data at an additional 1024-bit AES once at the first data center. And as long as there are no geographic restrictions for where you want your data, we're going to have it geographically duplicated across multiple data centers. So those of you who are requesting data to only reside in Canadian data centers, you don't have that redundancy across multiple data centers. But we are backing up the single data center that we have. So there's still that security in it. So the backup, we come in here to go to the advanced options, and we can select an encryption. This is a local encryption process and a local backup procedure we're writing right now. So we don't recommend putting any of this on here if you plan on taking it off-site. Encrypting information is a nonlinear algorithm, and you want to make sure that these backups are happening quickly, and when you encrypt encrypted data, it goes out a little bit. Retention policy, you can set your retention policy. Again, this is a local retention policy. So when it says image set, it means the set is based on what we chose in the scheduler. So if we chose a weekly strategy, then it's a weekly set. A monthly set. So right now, this means it's going to delete incremental backups after they've been around if they're older than 3 weeks. A good question right now from Peter, how will backup during business hours affect server performance? Well, certainly, it depends on what kind of server, what kind of applications, but that's why you have the staging machine environment. So you're going to have to determine what type of server it is, what type of systems are on there, and how it does affect. Now, the incremental backup can be run and generally is going to be fine for most environments. But again, it's a case-by-case basis. You're just going to have to make that call yourself once you get it in place. Typically, we find that the incremental backups are not a heavy burden. The full backup you certainly don't want to run during business hours. And that's why it's scheduled weekly rather than nightly or daily. We have different commands you can put in here. So pre-snapshot, post-snapshot, post-backup. So you get your little batch files, write out scripts, whatever you want to do, restart, resume, pause, etc. We also have some legacy things like split image files. So those of you who have been our partners before, we used to recommend, well, if you want to back up images off-site, we recommend that whatever service you use, you create the backup job so that it splits it into smaller chunks, maybe 5 gig chunks or 8 gig chunks, whatever it is. And this allows you to do that here. Image stream is designed specifically to not need that, so you don't need to do that. Good question from Sachin. Deleting images deletes from the SOS could as well, right? There's the option in this version. So I believe what Sachin's asking is, when we delete the incrementals, is that being removed from the cloud? No, right now the versioning that we're setting here is a local setting, and we'll show you in image stream how you can manage what's going to the cloud. So next, we get a summary and we hit finish, and then that'll run. And we already have some backups that have run that have good incrementals, so I'll just show you from there because it'll show how the incremental recovery works when you have a lot of incrementals. So I hit Explore Backup. This restore option is more typical to overwrite an entire volume. A more common use case would be, let's take a backup and let's restore it as a virtual drive. Probably just going to pull some information from that virtual drive and then get rid of it. So here we have my backup volume F. I have a number of backup jobs, so I can pick any one of them. This one has 37 incrementals. I'll do backup job 9. So we hit that, hit OK.